Welcome to the deep dive. We're here to cut through all that noise and get straight to the insights that, well, really matter. If you're anything like me, you've probably spent, I don't know, countless hours scrolling through professional platforms like LinkedIn. Trying to figure out how you actually connect, how you share something valuable, and really make some kind of mark. It often feels like you're just shouting into a hurricane of content, right? And for years, the advice has always been visuals, visuals, visuals. You hear it everywhere. But what if the data maybe is telling us something totally different for 2025? What if the way to really make an impact isn't always about, the flashiest videos or the most polished graphics? Okay, let's unpack this.
Yeah, what's fascinating here is exactly that, how things keep changing. The strategies for getting your professional content to um, truly resonate, they're always shifting. So our mission for this deep dive is really to pull back the curtain on the latest LinkedIn trends and strategies for 2025. We're going to be focusing specifically on insights coming out of Thailand. Now, you might be thinking, why Thailand? Well, it often acts as this fantastic kind of accelerated mirror for global patterns, especially in markets that are digitizing really fast. The professional scene there, driven by super high mobile use and a really dynamic business environment, it frequently shows us what we'll soon see, or maybe are already seeing, in other parts of the world. So these aren't just like local insights. Think of them as predictive indicators for your strategy, wherever your audience might be. Our goal is to equip you with the knowledge, the real practical stuff, to make your professional presence truly effective.
That's such a great point, seeing Thailand as a sort of global bellwether. It makes total sense. And we're diving right into a fantastic source for this today. It's a report called LinkedIn Content Trends and Strategy Thailand 2025. We're essentially going to pull out the most impactful bits, the real nuggets from it, basically giving you a serious shortcut so you can get up to speed really quickly on what actually works on LinkedIn.
That's
Now, we'll
all.
cover, well, everything from the content types that are surprisingly effective to the really crucial when to post and the tone that genuinely connects. So, yeah, prepare to have maybe some of your long held assumptions challenged a bit. Let's get into these surprising truths about content types. Okay, so for so long, we've been told visuals are just, well, everything online. Content is king, but video is the emperor. Or if it's not scroll stopping, it's not working. All that stuff. But I hear you have some data that might completely flip that script for LinkedIn. What's the surprising truth about text-only posts, especially looking towards 2025? Here's where it gets really interesting.
It is. It's absolutely a bit of a paradigm shift for a lot of people. The data is pretty clear. In 2025, text-only posts are actually reigning supreme for engagement on LinkedIn. And it feels counterintuitive. I get it. We're swimming in visuals everywhere else. But it makes perfect sense when you think about the platform itself, its core purpose, and who's using it. LinkedIn's algorithm, and maybe more importantly, its users, they genuinely seem to favor substantive, thought-provoking text. We're talking about posts that read almost like mini blog entries or personal stories, but shared in a really authentic conversational way. These types of posts, they consistently pull in high interaction because they offer depth. The specific finding is that users are most likely to interact with text posts. Think about it. When you're on LinkedIn, you're not usually just like mindlessly scrolling for pure entertainment, right? You're often looking for actual insights, maybe solutions to work problems, or just a fresh perspective. So a well-crafted text post, whether it's thought leadership, maybe career advice in a thread, or even personal anecdotes about lessons learned at work, it fulfills that desire for real value.
That's fascinating. I actually remember spending ages, literally hours, perfecting this short video once. And then a simple text post I just sort of dashed off during a coffee break got like double the engagement. This research really validates that baffling experience. It makes me feel a bit better, actually. But I have to wonder, if everyone starts just doing text-only posts, isn't the feed going to become, well, just a wall of text? How do you stand out then? And what kind of personal stories are okay for a professional context without, oversharing?
That's a really good question, a very astute one. And it gets to the nuance, right? It's not about just posting text randomly. It's about the kind of text. The differentiation comes from the quality, the uniqueness of your perspective, and how authentic your voice sounds. For those personal stories, the key is always professional relevance. We're not talking about, what you had for dinner last night, but maybe lessons learned from a project that didn't go as planned, or a career change, a mentorship experience, even maybe a moment of professional vulnerability that led to some kind of growth. That stuff humanizes you or your brand. And the LinkedIn audience, they're generally mature enough to tell the difference between valuable commentary and just, well, rambling. The platform seems to reward depth and genuine connection, not just shortness or flashiness. So the takeaway for you is really clear. Don't be afraid to put your thoughts out there in text. Value rich commentary when it's thoughtfully presented. It consistently beats those glossy visuals if you want to spark real discussion.
Okay, so text is king for sparking that deeper discussion, that engagement. Got it.
Right.
But let's not, completely throw visuals out the window.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on, you mentioned posts with a single static image, or those document carousels, they're everywhere now, also perform really well, just maybe with a slightly different approach. How do they fit into the bigger picture?
Oh, absolutely. They definitely have their place. They complement the text beautifully. While static photos, like an office snapshot, a picture from an event, maybe a simple headshot, they get slightly less reach than pure text. Yeah. But they are still considered the second best content type for engagement.
Yeah.
They add that human touch or some context without needing a lot of heavy mental lifting from the viewer. But where visuals really shine, especially in a structured, informative way, is with carousels. The ones, those multi-page PDF documents you can swipe through right there in your feed.
Yeah.
They've become incredibly popular, and honestly, for very good reason.
Yeah, I've noticed them absolutely everywhere, especially, like you said, from consultants, B2B marketers. They love them. Why are they doing so well right now?
Well, it seems to come down to two main things: high dwell time and shareability. As people click through each slide of a carousel, it signals to LinkedIn, hey, this content is engaging, people are spending time with it. That boosts its ranking significantly. I mean, think about it. They're actively interacting. Sometimes for quite a while, a lot of brands report getting higher than average engagement with carousels exactly for that reason. Plus, people save them, they share them. They're like little mini presentations. And this fits perfectly with what users expect on LinkedIn. The audience has basically said they expect brands to share educational information about their product or their industry. So if you've got a complex idea or maybe a multi-step process or data you want to present, a carousel turns it into something easy to digest, interactive even. You could imagine like a 5 tips for better co-working slide deck, right? Or maybe an infographic summarizing workspace trends in Bangkok. Or a carousel sharing stats on hybrid work benefits. Could even be photos of office designs with short explanations. That visual storytelling really works here when it's genuinely informative and structured. Almost like a little micro-learning module you can flip through.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. A text for deep engagement, carousels for structured educational stuff. Great. Now, this next one always throws me a bit, especially with the whole world obsessed with short-form video, TikTok, Reels, everything. What about video content on LinkedIn? In this age where every single platform is pushing video, LinkedIn seems to have this, interesting paradox going on. Members do watch video, apparently, but it's paradoxically less directly engaging than on other platforms. What is going on there?
It is a paradox, isn't it? It's kind of fascinating. On platforms like TikTok or Instagram Reels, those quick, often entertaining videos just dominate. But LinkedIn users, they behave differently. They tend to scroll past longer videos. Why? Well, their mindset is professional. They might be in a hurry, maybe multitasking at their desk. And the data is super specific on this. LinkedIn users are far more likely to engage with really short videos, we're talking less than 15 seconds, than they are with videos that are even just 15 to 30 seconds long. That shows a really low tolerance for long-form video consumption when they're in that professional feed mindset. So if you are going to use video, your strategy needs to be laser-focused. Keep it extremely short. Like really short. Optimize those first few seconds to get your main message across immediately, and always use captions. So many people watch with the sound off. Maybe they're in an open office, on a train, or just prefer reading.
That makes a ton of sense. The context of the platform really drives how people use it, of course. But if it's less directly engaging, why are we still seeing so much video popping up? People are definitely still making it.
That's the interesting twist. While video might not always rake in the immediate likes or comments like a strong text post might, it is actually the most shared content type on LinkedIn. So a really compelling video, even if it doesn't get tons of immediate reactions right on the post itself, it can get reposted widely. That significantly amplifies its reach across the whole network. People share videos they find informative or maybe inspiring, or ones that represent their professional values or industry. It acts as this powerful amplifier for your message, even if those direct engagement numbers aren't sky high compared to text. And LinkedIn even reported that users are creating videos at 2x the rate of other formats. So it's definitely a growth area, but it's one that demands strategic brevity. Think about maybe a 10-second time lapse of a co-working space opening up for the day, or a quick soundbite from a member testimonial, or even just like 15-second tours of office lounges set to some nice music. Quick, digestible, easily shareable. But this is a really important caveat, remember, that pure text posts should still be the bread and butter for your core thought leadership content. You should supplement that with visuals and these short videos selectively. Don't let the video hype completely overshadow the proven power of well-crafted text.
That's a crucial distinction. Right. It's about using it strategically, not just jumping on the bandwagon and making long videos that nobody watches. Okay, so beyond these big content types, there are also some smaller but still pretty impactful interactive features we should probably touch on, the little things that can sometimes pack a surprisingly big punch.
Absolutely. Good point. First up, polls. They still generate that easy engagement because, well, they're low friction. You just click an option, right? Super simple. Now, they had a huge surge in popularity a while back and maybe got overused a bit. So the algorithm now seems to limit overly frequent polls, probably to reduce spam and stop the feed just becoming a list of silly questions. But a quick relevant question, like what's your biggest work from home challenge right now? Focus, collaboration, or maybe staying connected, that can still spark conversation and get you some valuable insights. Then you've got hashtags. These are really crucial for discoverability. Cannot stress that enough. LinkedIn lets users actually follow specific hashtags. That means your content can show up way beyond your immediate connections if you use them smartly. It basically expands your organic reach to anyone interested in that particular topic. So, for example, tagging your posts with something like hashtag hybrid work or hashtag co-working helps professionals interested in those areas find your stuff, even if they don't follow you directly. The best practice here seems to be a focused handful, maybe 3 to 5 relevant hashtags per post. Unlike Instagram, where people sometimes stuff like 20 hashtags in, doing that on LinkedIn can actually look a bit spammy, less professional. Keep it focused. And finally, tags or mentions. Mentioning or tagging relevant people or companies in your posts, that definitely boosts reach. It encourages engagement from their networks, and it signals direct relevance to the algorithm and to people. It helps pull the right people and their audiences into the conversation. Okay, great practical tips there. So we've really dug into what the kinds of content that actually perform. Now let's shift to the tactical side, the when, because timing, it turns out, can significantly improve engagement. It can make all the difference in whether your amazing post actually gets seen by anyone. Oh, it absolutely can. It's crucial. For LinkedIn in Thailand, which, as we said, kind of mirrors typical global work patterns, the best posting times are definitely during weekday business hours, especially midweek. This isn't just about when people are technically online, but when they're actually receptive to professional content. Their mindset matters. The sweet spot, pretty consistently, seems to be Tuesdays through Thursdays mid-morning. Specifically, around 10 a.m. local time is often highlighted as being ideal. Think about it. By then, most professionals have settled into their workday, probably had their first coffee, maybe cleared out urgent emails, and they often take a quick scroll break before diving into deeper tasks or heading off to lunch. We see peak engagement generally during those late mornings, say from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. on those midweek days. Wednesday is often called out as the absolute top day for engagement, with Thursday usually a very close second. That lines up perfectly with the rhythm of my own workday, actually, that mid-morning check-in. But what about the rest of the week, like Mondays or Fridays?
Yeah, good question. Friday can be okay, but mostly before noon. Engagement really tends to drop off later in the day as people start mentally checking out for the weekend. You know how it is. Early in the week, like Mondays, and definitely weekends, see comparatively lower activity. Mondays are often about catching up, planning the week ahead, so maybe less time for casual browsing on LinkedIn. Interestingly, though, there are sometimes secondary peaks during commute times, like around 7 to 8 a.m. or maybe 7 to 9 p.m. in the evening, especially in really busy cities like Bangkok, where commutes can be long. Those slots can catch people checking their phones on the way to or from the office. They might be looking for quick updates or just scanning industry news. However, you should definitely try to avoid posting very late at night or super early in the morning, probably outside of that 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. range. Usage just drops off significantly then. So the listener takeaway here is midweek mornings generally give you the best shot at organic reach. But, and this is important, you should also experiment a bit, use LinkedIn's own analytics. See when your specific followers are most active. Your audience might have slightly different habits.
Fascinating how much routine and even geography, like commute times, influences online behavior. So much to consider. Okay, so we know what to post, and we know when to post it for maximum impact. That brings us to maybe the most crucial part, the tone and the content themes. Beyond the mechanics, how should we sound, and what should we actually talk about to truly connect?
Right, this is where you bring the sort of human element back into the strategy. It's key. The overarching advice here is that LinkedIn content that performs well, it tends to be informative, yes, but also authentic and professional in tone, yet not overly formal or stuffed with corporate jargon. Think more like having an insightful conversation rather than issuing a, corporate press release. Storytelling is incredibly powerful on LinkedIn. Those personal narratives we talked about, challenges overcome, successes celebrated, they resonate deeply. They humanize professional experiences, and that consistently triggers engagement. It allows people to connect on a more human level. Also, posts that proactively ask questions or invite opinion, like, do you agree with this approach to flexible working, or have you found something else that works better? Those can prompt way more comments. And more comments means more visibility. It keeps the conversation going. It boosts the post in the algorithm.
So it's really not just about broadcasting your message out there. It's much more about starting a dialogue, getting people involved. And for company pages specifically, how do they manage this without just sounding like they're constantly trying to sell something? That's always the tricky balance.
That is a critical point for any brand or company page. And here's a huge insight directly from the users. LinkedIn users say the #1 way they want brands to show up is by sharing educational information about their products or industry. That is such a crucial piece of information for any professional or brand listening. Content that offers genuinely helpful knowledge like how to improve team collaboration in hybrid teams, maybe, or 5 benefits of flexible workspaces for small businesses, or a guide to navigating some new industry regulation. That kind of content will almost certainly outperform just a straight sales pitch. Your product might be fantastic, but first, establish yourself as a helpful, knowledgeable expert in this space. Over time, building that thought leadership through consistent tips, sharing industry insights, or offering leadership viewpoints that builds credibility and engagement. And that naturally leads to people being interested in what you offer. And don't forget the human touch either. Visual posts that showcase company culture, pictures of employees celebrating milestones, maybe behind-the-scenes glimpses of events, or spotlighting community involvement. Those also do really well. They add that personal, relatable dimension and also really help with employer branding. So really, bringing all of this together, the big picture trend for 2025 on LinkedIn is clearly toward value-driven content. It's that simple, fundamentally. It's about being genuinely helpful or insightful or inspiring, or maybe providing a unique perspective that makes people think professionally. And don't forget that consistency matters too. You can't just post once in a blue moon. Companies typically find posting 1 to 2 times per week is a good rhythm, enough to stay on followers' radars without becoming annoying or spammy. So to paint a picture of an example strategy, imagine you commit to a weekly Wednesday mid-morning post, perfect timing, and you alternate one week, maybe a compelling text post with a fresh thought leadership angle. The next week, perhaps a really informative photo carousel or a short, impactful video that highlights a key insight, that kind of approach. It perfectly taps into all these known engagement patterns we've discussed. It maximizes your reach and your impact.
That's a brilliant, really actionable framework to work with. Super helpful. It really sounds like LinkedIn is, well, maturing as a platform, doesn't it? Moving beyond just being a digital resume holder or a place for kind of superficial updates. So if we had to boil everything we've talked about down to just one core idea, like one golden rule, it really seems to be this. You have to provide authentic value. Whether you choose to educate or inspire or inform or even just provoke some thoughtful discussion if your content does that consistently and strategically, well, then the likes, the comments, the shares, they'll naturally follow. It really is about serving your audience first, not just selling at them.
Wow, we've covered a huge amount today. From the surprising staying power of authentic text posts, which I'm definitely going to try more of, to the very strategic use of those short, punchy videos and those informative carousels. And of course, hitting that optimal midweek morning sweet spot for posting. These insights are genuinely designed to help you navigate the, let's face it, often confusing professional landscape of LinkedIn much more effectively, turning your efforts into real, genuine impact.
And this raises an important question. It's something to really think about. While we focused a lot today on professional platforms, specific tactics for LinkedIn, the real takeaway might be deeper than just that. It's that being professional doesn't have to mean being boring or stiff or overly formal. Not anymore. It means being insightful. It means being human. And it means being relevant to the people you're trying to reach. So maybe consider this. What unique story, what aha moment from your own work, or what hard-won lesson from your professional experience could you potentially transform? Could you turn it into a value-driven text post, or maybe a compelling short video, or an informative carousel that truly resonates with your network and actually sparks a genuine, meaningful conversation? And maybe think even broader. How can this whole idea of value-driven content be applied beyond just LinkedIn? To any platform, any interaction where you want to provide professional insight and make an impact. How can you consciously infuse genuine value into, well, pretty much every interaction you have professionally? Something to mull over.